So if you've been feeling like you can't seem to connect to your partner or partners, right? If you're feeling like you are struggling to get on the same page with each other, and what's actually happening is anytime you try to communicate, there's a fight, somebody walks out, you just get disappointed, you'd shut down, and nothing feels like it's changing. I got a tool for you that you can start today that will start shifting that communication pattern. You know, one of the main reasons people are dissatisfied in their relationship is because of poor communication. And when you're not communicating, you're typically not going to be wanting to have sex with that person. So communication is part of how we create intimacy. That intimacy is part of also our sexual life, right? And if we're not feeling like we can communicate, we're probably not going to feel like we want to be intimate or sexual with that person. My name's Monique Gomez. I'm a relationship coach and sex educator. And today I want to talk to you and kind of break down one communication tool that is really powerful in getting on the same page and actually feeling like you are connected to your partner. And that tool is active listening. I'm sure you've heard of this before. It's nothing brand new, right? But I really want to break it down in a way that hopefully you can understand and start using today. So active listening has some components to it. The first component is your full attention. So when you are with your partner and they are talking, okay, or you even say, hey, I need to have a chat with you. You know, that's my favorite thing. Hey, I need a chat. So when you're in that space, the person expressing, right, the person talking, to actively listen, the first thing you do is you give them the floor. You let them have the space. You also give them your full attention, your full presence, okay? So this is like putting your phone away, not having distractions, okay? Not having the TV on, not doing multiple things, not having kids screaming, right? I mean, I know some things are out of our control, but the things that you have control over, you actively put them away to give this person your attention. So you're there with them. You're fully present with them. That in itself, just to feel like somebody is fully present, shifts the dynamic, right? You know what it feels like when somebody's with you and you're trying to tell them something and they're over here on their phone or they're doing something else. You don't feel seen. You don't feel like they're with you. So the first step in active listening is be present. Fully attend to this conversation. And that will shift the dynamic and that will shift the energy, and it begins with a container that starts feeling like, oh, okay, we can work with this. Okay? So that's the first step of active listening. Presence, no distractions, full attention. Okay? The second step is, as you're listening, you're noticing when your thoughts are going to come up. So this is part of the presence, right? It's being mindful of those are your thoughts. Your person is telling you something. It sparks a thought. You just let those thoughts be. Do not hang on or attach to the thought, right? That can start causing your energy to pop out of presence and you're in your head and not in the moment with your person. Let them speak. Give them space to speak. Do not interrupt, right? Do not, when your head starts going, nope, that's not right, inaccurate, you say, okay, put that aside, and you still let them speak. You don't interrupt. You give them the floor. When they are done, what you do is acknowledge them. You say, thank you. You can even use an appreciation here, right? Thank you for sharing that. You acknowledge the fact that this person that you love, that you care for, that you really want to understand, just spoke and just shared something with you, right? You acknowledge that with head nods, with words, right? Thank you for sharing. Your body language is part of active listening. Nodding, noticing eye contact, right? Those are ways that somebody is tracking, like, oh, they're with me because their body is with me. They're listening to me. So body language is another big part of this. You acknowledge them, and that happens not just with words, but also through the body, right? After you acknowledge, you use these things to acknowledge them, you're showing that you're with them, right? You're showing that you're present. You're in this together. When they are done, you give that space. You let pauses happen. And then you can even ask, okay, are you done, or does that feel complete? Is there anything else? That's a great question. Is there anything else? You hold it and you listen. This is practice of holding space. This is practice of of mindfulness, really, putting your thoughts and mind to the back burner, knowing that they're there, but you bring your full attention to something. Asking them, okay, is there anything else right now? When they say, no, I think I'm done, okay, or however they say that, like, no, they might be crying, they might be, fuming, who knows? They're having their emotional experience. They're sharing with you. You then get a chance to reflect back to them. So what does that mean? You basically say, I heard you say this. Is that what you meant? So for example, I'm hearing you say you're feeling frustrated because I'm not picking up the laundry and it's getting overwhelming. Is that right? That little bit of like, okay, this is what I heard. Is that correct? Is that what you meant? Is that what you're saying? I hear that seeing the piles of clothes on the floor is pissing you off. Is that correct? Right? It's that simple. It's something as simple as that. Reflecting back, this is what I heard. Is that what you meant? Or is that correct? Okay? The reason we do that is that way there's clarity. There's clarity in what is getting communicated. Because oftentimes, and what I see so many times in couples, and as they're trying to communicate and relate, is the person will be sharing something. They're expressing. The other person is listening, trying to listen, trying to actively listen. This person's saying something, it activates this person. Some kind of wound, a thought. That thought of this partner starts giving the message like, oh, she doesn't think I'm clean. She thinks I'm worthless. She thinks I'm a worthless piece of shit. Whatever the case is, right? This person's saying, I'm frustrated because I need you to pick up your clothes off the floor because it bothers me. I'm tripping over it. I'm doing all this stuff. This person's like, oh, I'm a piece of shit, right? We go to that extreme sometimes. Then the defensiveness comes up. You're not really hearing the person. And then there's a shutdown. And then this person's like, but wait, I love you. I don't want you to shut down. I just need you to pick up clothes off the floor. I need to feel help in I need to feel like you're helping me, right? What active listening does and what that presence does is it makes sure that you're with that person. You notice that, okay, I'm having this thought. And then you reflect back. This is what I heard. I heard you need the clothes off the floor. Because sometimes people will say, well, what I heard is that you think I'm a lazy piece of shit. This person isn't saying that at all, right? That's where the clarity has to happen. You need to reflect back what it is that you heard. Because sometimes what you hear is different than actually what is being said. I hope that makes sense. I think it should make sense, right? So getting that reflection back, it means that you are present, you are tracking the person, you are listening, you're summarizing basically what you heard them say. You're summarizing the whole expression, the whole talk, right? Whatever they're saying, whatever they're trying to tell you, you summarize it and you say, this is what I heard. Is that what you're trying to say? Or is that what you're saying? Okay. When that is happening, clarity is existing. When we have clarity, we have choice, right? When we have clarity, when we're like, oh, we're on the same page. Okay, now what do we do? Where do we go from here? When there's clarity and you're not in assumption and you're not in your own wound and your own trigger and your own belief of what this all means about you, then you have a better opportunity to figure out the actual problem so that whatever is happening can start getting resolved. You can work together on the same team to figure out, what can we do to help this? What can I do, or what can you do to let this matter shift, right? Because we get stuck in negative loops. So remembering that you are on each other's team, right? There are no sides here. When we're not actively listening, we separate. Our minds go into our own little worlds, our beliefs get triggered, and we start creating stories, and we're not listening, and we're not hearing, and we're not understanding what that person's actually saying. And it might be all their wounds, right? It might be their shit. But the part of active listening is letting that shit be on the table, letting their stuff be there, and saying, hey, okay, I see it, right? And you can still have your stuff coming up, but we're working on this, and okay. And then you're like, oh, this is my stuff that's here. Okay, that's mine, that's yours. How can we bring this together? So actively listening is a part of changing your communication dynamic. It's a part of letting the communication flow differently rather than getting defensive, rather than isolating, rather than shutting down. You're sticking in the moment. You're sticking with the present moment. You're sticking with what that person is telling you. And you're genuinely curious, right? Curiosity is the key to active listening. You have to stay engaged. You have to stay, okay, what is this person saying, right? You want to be curious with your partner. That helps you stay present. When you're curious, it gives your mind something to do, and it keeps you in the present moment. Because you're like, okay, what are they saying? Oh, I'm hearing this, right? It's giving your brain the space it needs, right? The frame, the structure it needs to stay in that moment and not bounce off to all the places that it wants to go and defend and control and all of that. Those places create separation. Those places create misunderstanding. Those places create distance. And when you're distant, you probably aren't going to be having a great sex life. You're probably not going to be really, really fulfilled in your relationship. And we're in relationship because we love that person. We like them. We decided to spend our most precious resource, which is time, with that human, right? Creating things together. So if you cannot communicate effectively, it can bring so much tension. And yes, miscommunication is part of the game, right? Relating is difficult at times. It is challenging to relate. Sometimes you do feel like nobody is hearing me, like I cannot get through. But with this one simple tool to actively listen, it can change the game for you. You can actually feel like, whoa, okay, I'm being heard. I'm being understood. I'm listened to. And having that space, basically you're being seen, right? You're being seen as in what your needs and wants and desires are. And that is how intimacy is created. And when you have a partner who's there and seeing you, you're gonna want to relax into that. You're gonna get aroused even to be and wanting to keep doing that. It relaxes you and really encourages connection. So that's why communication is vital. Effective communication is vital to connection and overall relationship satisfaction. So try it out. Remember, active listening. We're going to go over what does that entail. Active listening. First thing, presence, full attention, no distractions. Put your phone away. Stop doing the dishes. Sit down, look at each other, eye contact, right? Acknowledging. How do we acknowledge? Through words. I hear what you're saying. Head nods. Actively participating through with your body. Eye contact. What your body is doing is a huge part of how you communicate and how the person is seeing if you're there or not. Third thing, summarize and reflect back, right? So you take the information, when they're done, you summarize it. You say, this is what I heard. Is that right? Is that what you meant? Right? So those two things. And then what does that create? That creates clarity. And with clarity, you can start making new choices. You can be on the same team because you're on the same page. So you can kind of work with the problem together rather than separate. Remember, active listening does not include interrupting, does not include getting defensive or defending yourself or feeling like you have to argue your point. Anytime you feel that coming up, you know you're not active listening anymore. Okay, regroup in your brain. If you start feeling like I gotta make my point, I gotta defend myself, oof, that's a cue for you to come back to your heart, come back to presence. Remember your heart space. Remember that space of, I love this person. I wanna know what they're saying. I really do care. I really wanna hear what they're saying. Connect with your heart. That's where the deepest connection exists. And that's what we really want when we relate to people. So if you want more, if you want more information on how to connect, if you're feeling like you're needing a little bit of extra help, get your own coaching session, go check out my website, moniquegomez.com. Lots of tools there for you. And also you can schedule one-on-one sessions with me, because sometimes having a coach, somebody from the outside looking in, helping you get out of negative loops, giving you these tools one-on-one for your specific relationship dynamic can be life-changing. And that can actually increase your energy. It can increase your productivity. It can give your brain the space it needs, because it's not always thinking, oh man, I really, really want to be with my person and I don't know how to be with them, right? So having a solid relationship that feels good and happy and connected just makes your whole life feel so much better. So again, go check it out, moniquegomez.com, and keep trying to connect, right? Come from your heart. You deserve to have a relationship that feels good, connected, and heart-led. Until next time.